Welcome once again to the Bills and Bones podcast. I am Gio, and I'm here as always with my co-host PC. We started Bills and Bones to talk football for the fans, with a focus on PC's team, the Buffalo Bills, and my team, the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are on a bye week this week, so this week we're going to be talking Bills Colts, and we're going to be talking about both divisions. This show is brought to you by Harry's full-length extra firm pillows. Harry's, sleep with us. We will always leave you satisfied. So let's talk Bills first, since I think we got a little more to talk about on the Bills side of things today.
Yes, exciting week after a big victory in Indy. It's always great to start a game off with a pick six by the defense. Teron Johnson, again, making his mark and opening the floodgates for what ultimately would turn into a pretty satisfying and victory for the Bills. One thing that, I'm going to take away from this is that the young safeties are really coming into their own and played really well in his own defense against a Flacco who's typically able to know where he's going to go with the ball and make some quick decisions. I think McDermott had an excellent game plan. I feel like Rapp and Hamlin did a great job to assist at the line of scrimmage and also in coverage. And when you have Rapp making an interception, you have Hamlin recovering a fumble, you have a defensive line that put some pressure on Flacco when we needed it late, and it was a nice recipe for a win. Cook got in the end zone once again, and obviously the freak of nature, Josh Allen, who didn't have that Superman game that we once needed from him in the
Your
past.
entire offense didn't have that Superman game
Well, I mean, it wasn't nothing
against the
special,
Colts.
but
I
when you
mean,
get a big lead and you can use the run to your advantage and not have to rely on the passing game as much later in the game, it allows you to move the clock and keep them off the field, and that's exactly what they did. And look, the Colts' strength is the run. So once we got the lead, we were going to lean on ours too to make sure that we kept them off the field and were able to put points on the board throughout the entire second half. So I'm very, very happy with the outcome.
I think that there's been a lot of criticism for that win, from what I was seeing people talk about, and you kind of got that feeling like during the game. I think it's a little elevated, but they only won that game because of their defense for the Bills. And my takeaway from that was that's not really a bad thing. I mean, the fact that your defense has stepped up to the point that you can say we won a tough game because of our defense. I don't really view that as a negative. I mean, would it be nice if we were firing on all cylinders and all those kind of things? Yeah, of course that is. But a defense that can keep you in the game, and if we go with the critics, we'll say kind of won that game for you. I also see that as a positive. What were there? There were 4 sacks, right? Four sacks during the game. On that game, I mean, you had all the turnovers. I mean, your defense definitely came to play for you, and your defense, made the difference in that game. But once again, great. I mean, if I was a Bills guy, I would like the fact that my defense can take over a game if my offense is slugging. And look at your injuries that you have, going on your offense. You needed your defense to stand up. I mean, hopefully.
Look at the defense played great. I'm not going to take that away from them, but don't forget the fact that Jonathan Taylor had 100 yards in the first half. They weren't perfect. They didn't do everything that they needed to do. It's a good thing that we were able to take a 2-score advantage in the second half because the Colts were going to definitely rely on that run if it was a closer game. But you could tell, and this is your thing here, G, McDermott's adjustments at halftime for Taylor were freaking incredible. He had 106 yards in the first half. He had 7 in the second. So that just goes to show that they were selling that out. They were not going to let him beat them. They were going to make Flacco have to throw through those windows. And obviously, if we could get pressure on that statue back there, it was going to be a lot easier for us to generate some pressure and get some interceptions and fumbles and bad decisions and 3 and outs and things like that. And that's exactly what happened. We also had a great stop on 4th down, down in their end. So Quentin Williams coming back and making a huge contribution like during his first game back with the Bills. So I'm very impressed with the win. You brought up great points right there. Having no Keon, having no Cooper, having Kincaid go out in the second half, you needed guys like Matt Collins and
Yep.
Dawson Knox to step up. And Shakir, again, the dude is a machine. He leads the league in yards after the catch, which is something that this team has desperately needed for years. For as great as Diggs and Beasley and guys like that were, they were finesse guys who would catch the ball and hit the ground right away. They would get out of bounds right away. Not many times that they were getting hit, but Shakir is a guy that welcomes it, and it's great to see, and it makes him even more dangerous when he's coming across the middle, reminding a lot of old school Bills fans of a guy named Andre Reed who had a hell of a career here and is now in the Hall of Fame. So I enjoyed watching it. The one thing that I'm really kind of starting to get concerned about, and people who watch quite a bit are in agreement with me. Josh, something's up with Josh. There's been a lot of short throws. The interception, not that it wasn't a great play by the guy, it's just seems like something's off with his delivery and with the velocity. I also feel like when you have a guy like Kincaid who is, a sure-handed tight end, he's only catching or getting it in the radius about 65% of the time where it's a catchable ball from Josh. That's got to move way up, and that's got to be look. That's for Kincaid. Now, a guy like Shakir is at 95%. So why is it that he's able to get the ball to Shakir, but he's not able to get it to Kincaid? He missed him wide open for a touchdown yesterday, which is bringing up concerns. I don't know if it's mental or physical, but it seems to me that something was off and has been for him for a couple of weeks now, and I'd like to see him get back to where he was when he had ultimate command in that pocket. But running game,
Especially now that you got, now that you got your new weapon Cooper there, you know what I mean? You want to be able
not there
to
though.
utilize that. But well, I mean, he's there. He's just not out on the field right now. I think
Right.
that what they were saying, they're hoping that he'll be back week 11 for you, which you definitely could use playing the Chiefs if he comes back. But you're not going to see Coleman back. I think you got a pretty good chance of seeing Kincaid back because he did kind of try to get back out there. He just wasn't really,
Yeah,
wasn't really feeling it.
I listened today. It seems like it's not a week to week thing. It's a day to day thing. So it's going to be pain. I think honestly, G, if that was a closer game yesterday, he would have been out on the field playing. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. You don't. I've never seen a guy go doubtful and then not be listed as out. And you know what I mean? It usually happens in that order. He was listed doubtful, and then he came back out on the sideline with all of his shit on. So there
Yeah.
was a chance that he could have went back in the game, but we took command after he got hurt, and then that we got him on the fourth down, and that was it. So it was. I would like. It's an injury that is going to need some attention this week, and if he could go and he can handle the pain, he'll be fine. But again, if we can get Cooper and Kincaid back, our defense is in a great spot. I don't know if you've heard this, but Milano's going to be practicing this week. He's coming back. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be playing right away. We've got a bye next week, 49ers, and then some road games. But what a great addition to that locker room, and someone who will be welcomed with open arms. Dorian Williams played phenomenal for him in his absence and will continue to see a lot of playing time, I think, even when he comes back. But to have your all-pro middle linebacker back on the field is obviously awesome this late in the season because not a lot of people are going to have guys that are healthy like him ready to rock. So looking forward to that. But obviously this Chiefs game is going to see who's going to be out there for us on offense so that, we can put points up on the board and hopefully handle our business.
Yeah, one thing we talked about a little bit. One thing that I noticed once again with the Bills is that slow start. Like you said, he's blocking that run in the beginning. I'm watching the score in the first half, and I'm like, I'm not, if I was a Bills fan, I guess I'm not. I'm nervous because obviously I don't want to lose the game. But I just kept on waiting for second half Bills to come out and then,
Yep.
and then handle business. But you're right. I mean, if you can get that second half Bills to be the first half Bills and go through all four quarters like that,
Well, it
then
was
you
10
got
nothing.
something.
It was 10 nothing. I mean, they gave up 13 in a row after it was 10 nothing. So it's a game of runs, dude. It was 10 nothing, then it was 13-10, then it was 30 to 13. So like
Yeah.
they hadn't scored in that second half. See, that's the thing. I mean, we've talked about on the show quite a bit. The slow starts are always there, but the adjustments are even more impressive.
Yep.
And yesterday's adjustments were awesome in regards to Taylor because he didn't do shit in the second half. And even when they were trying to force feed him, and it wasn't going to happen, and they came out, went 3 and out, and we go down and score right away. I mean, that just set the tone for the rest of the game. And you know, when you have the lead and you have running backs that you can 100% rely on, like the Bills do in Davis. I mean, Ty Johnson got in there a little bit, along with you're gonna just bang it in there. Take your 4 yards on first down. Take your 4 yards on second down. Bills went for it on fourth quite a bit yesterday. They used Josh on that tush push, which no one can stop. I mean, we actually got stopped on a third down, and they were like, okay, we're going to do it again on fourth down, and got it anyway. So it's something that when you can rely on week in and week out, when you have the lead, it makes you very dangerous. So hopefully we can get a lead on the Chiefs and get a lead on the 49ers and get a lead on the Lions, so then we can rely on our defense to do exactly what they did this week.
And to me, where the defense made the biggest impact on your game was that third quarter, because you guys didn't put up any points third quarter. We talk about it all the time. You got to be able to put up points every single quarter if you want to win football games. You weren't able to put up any points that third quarter, which actually gave me a little bit of worry for you guys, because I'm expecting second half Bills team to come out, and then we hit third quarter and we're not scoring. So I'm like, I don't know. Are we going to see that second half Bills game? But the defense stepped up and made sure that the Colts did not score against you in that third quarter, and you know, that made a big difference in the game, because that would have been that kind of turn in the game point, is if the Colts would have picked up that touchdown in the third quarter, and then all of a sudden you got a little bit more of a game going. But defense stepped up and shut them down. But I was a little worried, you know, watching you guys go in the third, because like I said, I'm waiting for Josh Allen to come out and just immediately just go down there and get a touchdown. Okay, cool. We're second half football now, and you know that didn't happen. So that had to cause a little bit of concern for
I think
Bills Mafia there.
all of Bills Mafia was concerned when he threw that interception on that out to the sideline, which was an incredible play by the quarterback. Incredible catch. I mean, you're taking nothing away from him, but that is not a throw that Josh typically is throwing these days. That was a bad read, or something was up with his arm. I'm telling you, G, I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't look the same as it did at the beginning of the season. Now, is it something that he needs to heal up? We got 2 weeks coming, great. But this game coming up is so gigantic, there's no way that he wouldn't be missing it, regardless if he tweaked his shoulder or he had a little bit going. Now, have there been throws that are down the field that look like Josh Allen bombs? Absolutely. But there have been instances in the last couple of weeks. He took a real hard shot in the Titans game on the sideline. Shoulder got dinged up. And
Yep.
ever since
Caused a
then,
little bit of a ruckus over there when that happened too.
last week he had some short throws. This week he had some short throws. I was kind of concerned in that Miami game throughout, and I don't know.
And he has the history of those shoulder issues too.
Yeah,
So
but everybody knows how tough he is. We don't know the science that's behind it, and I could be out of my mind, but I'm just saying that nobody is going to need this rest better than Josh after this week, and I hope that, you know, we obviously come up on top. We got a big game with the Chiefs coming into town, and it's finally sets up nicely that we're going to have a big amount of our pieces when we play against them in a pretty meaningful game later in the season. Now, obviously, I have no doubt that this won't be the last time we see these boys, but it would be good to send a message, just have them come in here and show everybody that we're back and ready to roll right into this bye week.
I think, you know, missing Coleman is definitely going to be a hit. It would be a really good time for Cooper to be back. I mean, he's not going to be a, you know, well practiced Cooper, you know, coming into this game, but someone like Cooper, man, if he's on the field, then, you know, he's making a difference. So, you know, hopefully at least he comes back for you. I believe McDermott talked about Cooper coming back, but I think he, you know, pretty much said that Coleman's done.
Yeah, they did already. And they haven't ruled out Cooper. They're obviously going to monitor that throughout the week. This being Monday, the practice calendar to basically watch is if he practice fully on Wednesday, then you could pretty much anticipate him being in the lineup if he's not out there, or he's wearing the red jersey, or it's going to be some game time decision. McDermott always holds it close to the chest. He never really gives in on what's going to happen, which is smart
Yeah.
anyway, because it makes the Chiefs have to prepare for both situations, whether it's Mac or whether it's Coop, whatever. I mean, they this is the part of the season now where the Andy Reids, kind of rise to the top. The Tomlins, the guys who have been there in the past. So we'll see what happens moving forward, and I hope that soon we can start including a guy like McDermott on that higher echelon of coaching after big games like this, because G, as every week goes, there's going to be something that happens during this game, and it's going to be on McDermott to make the right decision to hopefully lead us in the to the path of victory. And if that doesn't happen, people around here are going to be, there's another thing that they can add to the list of reasons why they don't trust him.
Do you think if McDermott doesn't bring him all the way this year, at least a Super Bowl appearance this year, is he going to be done with the Bills? Because I don't think y'all are going to get rid of him.
No way. I mean,
Yeah.
people quickly forget and are very spoiled around here how bad things were for 17 years. For 5 years, I mean, we literally are 99.9% guaranteed to win the AFC East and make the playoffs, and it's fucking November 11th. That never happens. Not even for the Patriots, okay? So this team is moving in the right direction, to say the very least. So I'm very happy with the way it's going. I can't complain about McDermott's success. The only thing I will continue to bitch about are these high-end moments in the biggest stages. Will he or will he not make a mistake? And, we'll see. But the past has obviously dictated my response to this. I'll never forget 13 seconds. I'll never forget, the Hail Mary. I'll never forget the unnecessary timeouts in situations before field goals and shit like that. I'll never forget 12 men in the field last year when I went to one home game against Denver and they lose it on a kick. That stuff is unforgivable to me. And until you win it, I ain't going to forgive you. And that's just the way it goes. There's no way they're going to fire him. The way things have been, we're going to win 13 games this year. I mean, it's looking that way. Maybe 12. I mean, how can you bitch about that? There are teams that have 2 right now. So we there's a lot of teams that have 2 right now.
There
So,
are. Yeah, at least we have company.
I mean, and that wasn't even a shot at you, G. People don't realize McDermott's young, and he got into this at a very young age. It took guys like Andy Reid a long time before they won the big one. And sure, there are McVays that come up and they do it right away, and guys get lucky because Tom Brady comes to town. But let's be honest, the coaches that are at that upper echelon right now are the guys that we're chasing. Andy Reid for sure. And even I have a lot of respect for what's going on in Detroit. Many fans have jumped on that bandwagon. But until he wins, it ain't going to mean shit. So that's the thing, that we are blessed. We are in a great position, and we probably will be for a long time because of number 17. But sooner or later, some winning has to happen at a higher level in order for the coach to be counted on. And, I don't think it's happening anytime soon. But we'll see what type of playoff run we go on, or what type of playoff exit we have. You know what I mean? Like, before I'm going to say anything on that.
So getting ready for the Chiefs, we already said you're going to be down one of your major offensive weapons, but you might be getting Cooper back. You might be getting Milano back. That's going to make a difference.
Well, Milano
The
won't
Chiefs,
play. Milano
Chiefs watching the Chiefs watching, against the Broncos there. We've been saying it all season. They're a beatable team that is somehow undefeated. They played, and it's a division game and all of those things, but they played very beatable against the Broncos. And I know that there's a lot of people that are sort of questioning the Chiefs' superiority after that game. And I think some of those people also forget about the way the divisional games work as well. To me, what we were watching there was, every great team has a bad game, and we were watching the Chiefs' bad game that Broncos needed to take advantage of. And they almost did. They almost did. The coaching decision, to put the guy, in there that's been getting beaten all year, by people rushing past him to get to your kicker. I have no idea why they'd put him in for that play. Someone like Reed, I mean, he knows who's out there. He's gonna load that up and he's gonna plow right through, which is exactly what happened there. But I would say, watching that game, I mean, the Broncos seemed like they were actually the more physical team out there that game. It kind of looked like they actually sort of outplayed the Chiefs, to tell you the truth. Like, the score was not really indicative to how well the Broncos played that game, but the Chiefs still squeak it by. I don't think that they're not going to be able to squeak by on you guys, especially at home and all those kind of things. So the question is going to be, after they just squeak by, here are the Broncos. Are they going to be coming into town, really swinging? And I think that they are. I think that they are going to be, your two teams especially, like, have almost replaced kind of like replaced like the Raiders, thing with them, because we're not a threat to them anymore. So we got to become a threat. We've talked about before, like, the thing that makes, this great is, like, when the Dolphins were great and the Bills were great, that makes that rivalry great. Right now, the Raiders are not a great rival for the Chiefs because we're not really connecting. So the Bills have, like, replaced us as a really big kind of rivalry game between these two teams. And I think, in looking through Chiefs' schedule, I think that Bills are the team that have the greatest chance of not letting them walk into, the Super Bowl here, the playoffs at least, walk into their undefeated. I think that, Bills are that chance. What do you want to see from the Bills to be able to take them?
Well, I mean, like you said, I don't think that we should be disrespecting them whatsoever. They haven't lost a game since that Christmas game against the Raiders last year. So let's just put that into perspective. You're talking about what, 15, 14 games that they've
It's almost been a year. We're getting closer to a year here. I mean,
Let's stop acting like. See, the best thing about great teams is that they win the close games. Okay, you know, don't get me wrong. There were dominant teams that smacked the Bills in Super Bowls that crushed us. But over the last couple of years, if you are watching closely, the playoff games, the Super Bowls, the divisional rounds, whatever, they're all close games. No one's getting blown out, right? And the Chiefs are masterful in two things: the 2-minute drill and having a coach that knows the entire situation, right? So, and not that Mahomes is some dipshit or anything. That's not what I'm saying. But Andy Reid knows what they want to do well in advance. Every time, last week when the graphic came up, Mahomes had 19 fourth quarter or overtime comebacks in his career. The dude's been playing for 6 years. So, like, that's 3 a year. That's insanity. So you have to get a lead on these guys, number one, this week. I think you need to develop a lead and stick with it. We can't have a slow start against this team, because if this is a team like the Ravens showed us, like even the Texans, even though that was a much closer game, if if you get up on us and you can run and run and run and go play action one, that's how you beat teams like the Bills. Well, guess what? That's how you beat the Colts too. You get ahead and you run it and you run it and you run it and you make them get sick of it. You have to get yourself a lead. You must get pressure on him. If you don't, you're dead. You have to get your 4 to him and you have to cover great. This week, we will, unlike the last time we played this team, we will have Terrell Bernard. We will have some speed at the corner positions. I'm a little concerned about Hopkins being in their lineup, but at the same time, our cornerbacks, our safeties, and our slot guys have been excellent all season. There's no reason to think that that's going to stop this week. I know they have Kelsey, and I know they have Worthy, and they have some other weapons back there in the backfield. They have Kareem Hunt back, of course, but what you see is what you get with these guys. We know them and they know us. Like you said, because it's become a rivalry so quickly, there's no surprises when we play each other. To be perfectly honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if both teams are holding some of their plays back for the next time they could possibly be playing each other down the line to kind of figure out, throw some punches to see if it works now so that you can use it later in a situation that's going to be more beneficial for you to advance in possibly a playoff spot. This is a great preview. It's going to be hyped up all week. You already know that the NFL today is coming to town. They want to be sitting in the parking lot with Bills Mafia. Fuck them. They'll be riding Mahomes, you know what, the whole way. So I'm excited to kind of continue on this trend that we're going on. I'm excited to shut people up that think that, getting to 8-2 is easy just because of your schedule. No, I love all that shit. So it ain't easy to go 9-2. We can definitely say that, right, G? So go out there,
Yep.
handle your business, and get some turnovers and get him on his back and get that crowd as loud as can be to make it as difficult as possible and hopefully get the W.
It's an interesting game for both of you because both of you have something to prove in this game. Chiefs have, we are an undefeated team to prove. By beating you, they are proving that we are an undefeated team and we deserve to be that undefeated team. And then you guys, have the haters to shut up as far as like you just said about your schedule and all those kind of things. So it is a very big game for both of these teams. You know that KC is going to travel, but in a Bills home game, I mean, it's going to be one-sided on the fan base there, but you're going to be seeing a lot of red there
Oh yeah,
from KC as well.
they
These
definitely
two,
travel well. They definitely do. I mean, I give them the
they
respect.
do. They do. I mean, I don't know if they probably travel as well as the Bills do. I mean, it's kind of hard to match the Bills travel thing, but every possible Bills fan that wants to be at a game this year is going to be at this game. I mean, if they were going to make only one game of the season, it's going to be this game.
I will say this: Chiefs fans always traveled well to Buffalo before they won the Super Bowl, but there's a lot more red in the crowd
There's a
now.
lot. Yes, yes,
Okay, like
yes,
I'm not going to play that bullshit, but I will say
yes.
this: if the Bills won the Super Bowl, you can bet your ass there'd be a lot of people traveling to go watch them too. So I respect it. Their fan base was always awesome. We had some friends from Kansas City that would come in when we would play them every single year that they would play here, and we would cook it up with them and have a great time. But I'm looking at their schedule too. I mean, it's no walk in the park to get home. They have to play the Texans. They have to play the Steelers. They have to go to Cleveland. I don't know. I'm not saying that it's a walk, but we are most definitely the most difficult remaining opponent. But
Yeah.
just the way that they're playing and moving forward into when the weather gets a little shittier and ankles get a little more tender. That dude is hobbling around out there, so you never
Speaking
know.
of, as a random thing, as the Texans, after their uniforms last night, you need to make a permanent switch. Those were some awesome
Red
freaking
is red.
uniforms last night. Yeah, that was a menacing look to that team. Like that was a really awesome look to that team. So they might want to consider a permanent switch
It was
on,
super menacing
on
in the
the
first half
uniforms.
until they didn't score a fucking point in the second half.
They looked really good, though. I mean, you gotta look good at least.
No, they were sharp.
The
They were sharp.
the
I
the
don't know what
Bills
the
have
Bills
got
are.
to the Bills have got to come out against the Chiefs. They have to come out swinging. The Bills cannot do the, well, we'll get them in the second half thing. That's not going to
Yeah.
work against the Chiefs because I think that it's very likely that this game comes down to a field goal or this game comes down to overtime. It's not like we're going to be sitting there. Oh, this is a really boring game. They're just
No.
blowing each other. That ain't going to happen. So getting points every single quarter, coming out and establishing in the first quarter, we're not scared of you. This is our house, blah, blah, blah. That's going to be essential, to your success. The Chiefs, I think that they're going to be coming into town. They respect, your team and they respect, how good your team is right now. But I do feel like they are going to have a little chip on their shoulder walking into Bill Stadium this week. They're down Rice, they're down Pacheco. That's definitely not going to help them. But, you're down Coleman and, you got maybe Cooper coming back after a break, so you both are missing some pieces on the chessboard. You both really need the win. It's going to be a great game.
And they've had guys. They haven't lost yet, losing those guys. So let's not forget about that. They've continued to figure it out moving forward. Kareem Hunt is someone that the Bills and Sean McDermott have, executed pretty good game plans before in the past. I feel like, obviously the respect is there and all of it, but the last time the Chiefs came here, there was this they haven't had to go on the road and win yet type bullshit that was
Yep.
going on, right? Because we
Yep.
were the
Yep.
2 and they were the 3 or whatever it ended up. And they came in here and won. Now, oh, they're undefeated, but they're not that good. So they always have something that, that they can kind of grasp onto as like, oh, the us against the world kind of bullshit. But
Yep.
I don't know. When I watched them yesterday and they win that game with the block field going, they're running on the field and acting like fools. Like, I don't know. I just feel like the two-time champs should be acting a little bit more different than that. I guess it was cool that they won it like that, but I don't know. I'd love to stick it up their ass and smash them this weekend, but again, I know we're going to play them again. And when that opportunity comes to beat them in the playoffs, that's when it's really going to count.
So speaking within your division here,
Yeah.
I mean the Jets. I mean, I saw this actually on Facebook, and I really kind of agreed with and liked the sentiment. He says the Jets are done, season is over. Now they're facing the harsh reality of what happens going forward. Close to 30 players on expiring contracts, a soon-to-be 41-year-old QB who looks it, a coaching staff that will probably be gone. This is what rock bottom looks like, and I agree with that with the Jets. Watching the Jets do their thing, gonna miss that fire call. Watching the Jets do their thing, it's they're not looking good. They're not looking good. Rodgers is looking every bit of how Rodgers was going to look. Devontae is looking, like Devontae has been for us. Watching him, drop that pass was exactly what we've been watching him do. So when my wife and I were watching that pass drop, we said, "Yep, that's what we're used to seeing." We've been seeing that on the Raiders here, and that's why we were saying, trade him, weeks before he actually got traded. Get rid of him
Did you see
because
what I
he's
brought
just.
today, Jake?
What
This
did
is
you What did you bring
this
today?
is Jets fans' tears that I've been drinking all day long. Fucking delicious. You want wait, hold on. Yep. Well, we win one more game and they can't catch us. That's how terrible they are. So
We've talked about it over and over on this show how the Jets are just living in the past with this Rodgers move, with the Adams move. You got rid of your defensive mind from the team. The thing that you said was, the most amazing thing about this team, you got rid of them. So it's just watching them out there and watching them play as frustrated, as they're playing. Like Rodgers is that guy that you can, just watch him just be pissed off. Feels good for me, and he's not even in my division. I just don't like him as a person. But being in your division, Bills fans must love to watch the Rodgers crying show. He thought he was going to come into Jets and completely take over their team, make all the decisions for them. This was going to be his team. He was going to lead them to a Super Bowl. The first time he tries it, he gets out in a minute, whatever it was, 20 or whatever it was. This time he tries it. He's wishing he was out in a minute and 20 because at least they didn't have some kind of excuse instead of what we are witnessing here. And then they get Adams over there like, we're going to reestablish that connection. Even the announcers are saying that connection is gone. We don't know where that connection went, but that connection is gone. The Jets are just a
he's
mess.
done. He's been done since the injury. I don't care what you say, okay? He's 40. He tore his Achilles a year ago. To think that he was going to walk in there and continue to be anything like he used to be, you are kidding yourself as a sports fan to believe that that was possible. Did people want it to happen? Did people want to believe he was, he was different? Last year they were talking about how there was a chance he could be playing at the end of the season. Look, I'm going through it right now. There is no way that I know. I'm a little bit older than Rodgers, but I'm never going to be the same again. He thought he was going to go in there and be able to do what he did last year, and people thought that too. They're out of their minds. The Green Bay Aaron Rodgers is long gone. The guy who can
Yep.
get out of the pocket and go get a first down or hit that tight end coming across the middle or your receivers come. That guy is gone. And that team put all their eggs in one basket, and I'm glad to see them all smash on the ground because it as a Bills fan, you love to see the Jets suffer. You never want to see a dude get hurt. That's not what I'm saying with all this. But once that happened, everything changed, and he was never going to be the same again, and that franchise was doomed.
And looking at their schedule coming up, that they're not catching a break. I mean, they got Colts, they got Seahawks, they got Dolphins, Jags, maybe a little break for them. They got Rams, and they got you guys again on December 29th there. So they do not have a break coming in their schedule. This is going to be a trash fire for the rest of the season. I'm disappointed, if only because I wanted Devontae to do amazing because I want that second pick out of him. We have to have him go all pro to get the second pick, but that's obviously not going to happen as well. Bills are sitting very comfortably in their division. Our division is heating up with Chargers are doing much better now. Broncos are doing better now. Our division is heating up, whereas your division, you got, the Patriots that, are barely worth mentioning at this point. And you got the Jets, who are only worth mentioning because it's so funny. I mean, that's pretty much the reason why we bring up the Jets. So
Dolphins lose tonight, we will be 5 games ahead of every single team in the division in
yep.
November. Like, that's unheard of, bro. Like, that's how bad it's become. And like, it's quarterbacks. I mean, Tua was out for a while. Obviously, New England's going through their new guy, and the Jets have Aaron. So like, what a great place to be as a Bills fan because Josh is only getting better and all these other teams have gotten worse. And like you said, now that the Jets are stuck with him, and what are they going to do if they end up, with 3 wins? Are they going to draft a quarterback? Are they going to go through that fiasco again? I mean,
They better not. I
what's
don't need
next?
any competition for drafting quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, it's and even Miami, like I know they just paid Tua all that money, but he's one slap away from something bad happening again. So
He was one slap away a couple slaps ago.
this
He
this
somehow is
division
managing to keep in there.
this division is ours for the keeping for a while, moving forward until any of these division rivals can get a quarterback that can match, and that's not happening. That's not happening overnight. That's for sure. So it's
No.
good to be here. It's good to be in that spot.
So looking ahead here at our little Super Bowl chart here.
Oh my God, I would take that tonight.
I know. That's
Tonight.
really that's really not a bad thing for you guys. They some predictions have you leading off with Broncos there, Pittsburgh leaving off with Chargers, and then the Baltimore Houston game, and then NFC we got Vikings and Cardinals, we got Philadelphia, Atlanta, Green Bay, and Washington, and then of course we got Detroit and KC coming in, on the next round there.
See, looking at
It's
that, it would be. That's why it's important to kind of stack those wins like we talked about, G, right? Because look at the 2 teams that beat us have to play against each other if the season ended today. So that's why it's so important. And obviously this weekend would be a huge move in the right direction to either being that bye or being that number 2. But honestly, looking at that, I wouldn't mind being the 3 or the 2 because you're going to get to play that lower seed who's going to be one of those shittier teams that we would smack if they had to come in here late in January.
Now going by this chart here, this example, would you rather be seeing Baltimore in that round, or would you rather be seeing Chiefs in that round when you got to play them?
I mean, if it's home for us, that's good. So I would rather see the Ravens, obviously, because we get another shot at them. When Derrick Henry isn't going to be. I mean, he's always going to be a huge threat, but how much fun would it be to play him in a snow game where Josh is ripping it up too? Ultimately, I think we will end up being the 2 or the 3, so we will avoid the Chiefs until the AFC Championship, which is fine with me. I don't know. If they got to play the winner of that game up top, that benefits us because both of those teams already beat us, and that means that,
Yeah,
you know,
Chiefs having to. He's talking about the prediction is Ravens versus Texans there, and then Chiefs playing that winner. That would be beneficial for you guys.
right. We want to stay in the in the 2-3 range there, right? You don't want to. Baltimore and Pittsburgh are going to play each other, and Baltimore might slide into that 3 spot anyway. So that division is what's going to turn the needle as far as 7 goes. I don't care who the 7 is, as long as it isn't Baltimore, which I don't think it will be. But at the end of the day, if we got Denver coming in here late, a rookie quarterback playing against McDermott in the first round of the playoffs, yes, please. Yes, please. Any day of the week.
So looking at our division, like I said, Chargers have definitely started stepping up. Broncos have definitely started stepping up. Our division is getting harder while we are getting softer here. So there has to be, if we are going to be, even a contender at this point, with our division, then obviously we need a lot of changes. I don't think they're going to happen this year. People argue with me all the time. I'm still saying that the plan is to tank. I think that actions like letting that trade deadline go unnoticed. AP, stating that on the bye week we're just going to kind of chill out. We're not going to practice. That rubbed the fans the wrong way. They're like, what do you mean? You really could really use the practice. I see it both ways as far as, yeah, we could use the practice, but we also could use the rest. So here's, Pierce said the team likely won't practice at all during the bye week due to all of its injuries. I'm not really against that as a statement either. We do have the injuries. We could use the rest, but it does kind of feel to me like, that's the plan. AP is, if you like AP as a coach, then hopefully AP is in on it, because that means that he won't be losing his job. So, hopefully he's in on that. The media does try to stir up, Davis says that, AP is next and, he's on the chopping block and all those kind of things. I don't know. It just seems to me like that's the goal is the tank at this point. How are we doing on the tanking, or, what are we looking forward to? If we look at the draft order, we're continually moving up. So I suppose that the tanking plan is working. We got Jacksonville as 1, Giants, Tennessee, Cleveland, then us at 5. Cleveland is still the team that I am concerned about as far as drafting a QB ahead of us. I don't think.
Did you beat the Browns? Who are your wins this year? The Ravens and who? Yeah, that's what happens when there's only 2 of them.
The Ravens and the Browns are who we've beat this season. Ravens and Browns.
Yes, you need them to win a couple more games. Well, one more game, so that you move, because because you beat them, they're going to take that spot. So that's why you're below them there. I don't know why with Tennessee though.
I could see. I don't think that Cleveland is going to go Sanders. I think that they're going to go Cam Ward, which would make some fans happy, because they want Sanders. I'm actually a bigger fan of Ward, only because I think that the upside of Ward is greater. I think that he's more of a leader out there. I think he's less of a whiner. I like the lack of showbiz with Cam Ward, like the whole Sanders show. I don't know if I really want to bring that to the team. I want him focused. I want my quarterback focused on the Raiders and us winning games. I don't really want the media focused on who's your dad and you must be great because your name is Sanders. I know that Davis definitely likes Sanders. I know that Brady likes Sanders. So if he's available, I definitely don't see us passing on Sanders. Media has even spread a thing of every time we lose, Sanders is all happy and excited that we lost because he wants us to be able to get down low enough to draft him. So that's one of the media things that circulate often.
Well, some of those more terrible teams that are down there at the bottom, the Giants, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they both already are in locked with quarterbacks. Now, the Giants may pull the trigger, fire Dable, and get rid of Jones. I don't know. But
It might.
The only teams, like you said, that really right now you need to be worrying about are the Titans, the Browns, and maybe the Giants. But the way that your schedule is lined up, I just don't see a lot of daylight. You might have 4 wins if we're really talking serious here, but might even be
Well,
less than
at
that.
this point, I don't even want the 4 wins. I mean, it'd be nice to come into Monday having my team win on a Sunday. That would be nice. But any win that we get at this point is just taking us out of drafting someone next year. So at this point, and it's a depressing thing to come to terms with. But if you think about it, then every win is getting us away from our goal, which is to do really well at this draft. So I'm not really as excited about wins as I would have been. As far as firing Getsy and everything, I'm really excited that we did that, but it's too late at this point. Firing Getsy to make a difference in our season. At this point, let's just get the draft. On a positive note, looks like we might be seeing Michael Mayer back here, week 11. Finally, we still don't know what was going on with him. His family, we reached out to his family for comments. The only comment we've gotten on why he was out was his family said that this is something that he has dealt with before. That's all we got. So we know it's not it's been stated that it's not a problem with the Raiders. It's not a problem with AP. It's none of those kind of political things. It is something that is going on with him as a person instead of him as a player. But we could really use him back in our scheme, especially with a new offensive coordinator and all that. We could use him back. So it looks like we're going to be getting him back. So we'll see a difference there, I guess. As far as how do we line up with the Dolphins? I don't know. Maybe we'll come out and shock some people and and take the Dolphins with our new OC and all those kind of things. But like I said, why? Just to mess up our draft order. I mean, at this point, I'd rather just go with the fact that we're going to tank and look forward to, hopefully either Cam Ward or Sanders, changing a lot of things for us next year. Neither of them will be able to change anything if we don't hire that great, offensive coordinator. I don't know who that's going to be. I'm sure Brady probably has some ideas. Hopefully Davis doesn't have any ideas. He'll hire some retread and we'll be back square one. So
I don't know. I know you don't want to win, but I will say this: I feel like your front four will be able to get to Tua and cause some turnovers and some timing issues.
Crosby's been pretty quiet lately, man. Crosby needs to start doing something here.
Well, they're coming off.
Crosby's been pretty quiet,
and I feel like that always gets guys a little healthy and fresh and ready to rock and roll, especially on the defensive side. Going down to Miami after your break, some of them have probably been down there for a couple days, relaxing. So I would anticipate a much better effort from the Raiders this week than we've seen over the last couple, coming off the bye week and playing against another team that is going to be in the hunt for them lower draft picks the way the season has been going. But the Dolphins are going to try to win. McDaniel is not going to give up on the season. He just won't. But we'll see what happens tonight too. They're playing the Rams in a couple of minutes, so we'll be watching that.
Looking forward into Raiders schedule here. We don't have, a cakewalk of a schedule here. We got Dolphins coming up. We're going to see the Broncos again. We're going to see the Chiefs again. We got, Bucks coming up, Falcons, Jaguars, Saints, Chargers. So, we have an interesting schedule ahead of us. It's not an easy end of the year schedule for us, that's for sure. I think that our schedule will give us a chance to see what some of these players have for next year and hopefully make some good decisions. We have players on free agency that we have to make a decision about too. I was all for we're not going to be seeing Debo again. Lately though, you've been hearing Debo's name out there as stepping up and making some plays. I think he's replaceable in his position, so I still don't see us keeping him, but he is trying to step up. Unfortunately, I also don't I don't see us even if he was tradable or whatever, I don't think we're gonna get much for him. So we'll have to see what's going on with that. So pretty much, I think the rest of the season is let's see who can do what for the end of the season. I want to see more of Ritter. just because I know what we have with Minshew. I know what we have with Aiden. So I'd like to see him out there more. He still has not announced who he's going to go with for a starting QB. I didn't expect him to, because why would you help out the Dolphins with, who we're going to be playing there? Keep it a mystery. So I really wasn't expecting that. And also, if they've been spending this bye week just chilling out at the pool instead of training, then they might not know who they want in the new offensive scheme and all that. I can guarantee we're going to see at least something new in the playbook, because the Getsy playbook was 4 plays. So we're going to be seeing something new in the playbook. So the question is going to be, does Turner want to work with Ritter? Does he want to work with Minshew? That'll be a question. At this point, Minshew has been benched for 2 different quarterbacks. That he benched for O'Connell and he was benched for Ritter. So it'd be a little surprising for me to see him run back out there on the field as a starter again when we've benched you for 2 separate quarterbacks. But then again, I think they were trying to tank, so why not? I guess, send in the clowns, and we'll see what happens there. But I personally would like to see more of Ritter coming up.
Yeah, send in the clowns and you'll get the circus, baby.
Yeah, send in the clowns. Well, thank you guys for joining us. If you are get this tomorrow, I guess we'll see how the game goes here. I'm excited about this game, actually, that's coming up tonight. I'm glad we got to finish the show ahead of time. Sorry for the fire call during the show, but unfortunately those come through once in a while. We've actually had to postpone the show a couple of times because I had something going on with that too. So apologize for that. But
I thought it was a Raiders fan stress call, just giving up.
No. When you got to get up at 2 in the, I had a different little beep one, but at 2 in the morning, it takes the air raid siren sound that wakes me up at 2 in the morning to go on a fire call. The little beep beep things that wasn't waking me up. So, and it's kind of hard to be on part of the fire department if you're sleeping through the fire. They don't really like that. So had to kind of change that up a little bit. We will see you next week. Make sure you check out our other shows. We have shows on our YouTube channel. We are also available wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out. Give us those likes. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. We're going to be having our next guest on. I'm going to be having Nate back on for our Chiefs game. So I'll be having him on. And I think we're going to be having Jimmy back on pretty soon as well for a Bills guest there. So we'll be having some guests on coming up. Have a good night, everybody.
Go Bills.